demo is for bulk edits. How do you do edit in bulk? Now, the first part of the steps remains the same. That is, you go to by specimen data, you select what you want to edit. Suppose you want to edit specimens. So you want to specimen, you download the template file. But when you populate the data, so let me show you a specimen edit file now. And I'm just going to close all the other files. Okay. So now if you see, this has fewer columns than what is in the usual template, right? If you download the usual template, it has all the fields of specimens. I'm going to just compare and show it to you. Okay, there is. So there is, if you see, there's labels, type, laterality, so many columns, right? But when you're updating, you don't have to keep all the columns. Of course, you can keep it and leave it blank. That's also possible. But to avoid confusion, I've just removed those columns because I'm only interested to update quantity, comments, and container. And what I've done is I've kept the specimen labels. So this is the main point you need to remember when you update data, that you need to keep a unique column for updating. For participant, it's PPID and protocol title as the combination. If you're updating visit, it's going to be visit name. If you're updating specimen, it can be specimen barcode or the label field. In my example, I've kept the label field. So now if you see this particular specimen, I'm just going to open it in a tab. Just going to search for this specimen. And so right now the available quantity is 1 ml and it does not have any location. And I'm also trying to update comments. It has no comments right now, right? So similarly, I have other aliquots that I want to update. Again, update can have hundreds of specimens. You can update any column you want. And in order to transfer specimens from one location to another, this is the only way to do it through the CSV file. There is no transfer event here available in the templates. If you see, if you search for events, there is no transfer event. So in order to update location, you need to use the specimen template, and you can have the new location here along with the positions if you want, or you can leave the position blank and it will put it in the next available slot. And that will create a transfer event automatically. So let's see if that happens. I'm just going to save this file. I choose the specimen and I choose the CSV I have saved. This time the import type would be update. And I don't have any date time for field. So I'm just going to ignore this and I'll say validate and import. Okay, it's still in progress. I refreshed, it's success. So now I'll go back to this specimen. Actually, did I close that? Yeah. Just going to go back to that specimen. And now if you see, the location is updated. It put in the next available slot in that box. Available quantity is updated and the comments is also updated. And it also adds a transfer event. You see that it was the to location, from location was not stored. So it adds a transfer event. So similarly, it is, I had done it for other aliquots as well. So I can click on any aliquot and see that it put it in the next available slot. The quantity of the next specimen was 0.2, comment was training 2, and so on, and a transfer event. So this way you can bulk edit specimens. So again, the steps were similar. You use the record type, same download template file, but now in my file, I keep only the fields that I want to update. You can keep other fields as well. You can leave it blank and you choose the operation as update. Yeah, so now, how do you blank out values, right? So now, because I told in update, you can keep the column, but leave it blank. It will not update any record. So if you want to blank out any data, so what you need to do is you need to specifically put in your records that, let me just show you. Blank out. Okay. Yeah. So you need to specifically put this text in order to blank out a field. Because if you just have fields like, if you see here, if you have the column name and the values as just blank like this, it will ignore those columns. It's not going to do anything to it. Because in update operation, you can keep all the columns of your template and only the columns that you have data in, those only will be updated. If you want to blank out, you have to specifically put this. For example, now if I see this specimen, it has this comment right now. Now I want to blank it out. So I need to put this comment. And if you want to look for the text, if you just search in our wiki, updating value as blank in using bulk import, it will tell you that this is the text to use. So now if I want to blank out, again, I choose the specimen data. It's going to be specimen template. Choose the file, which is going to be my blank out CSV, update again, and validate and import. So this is success. Now if I search for that specimen, there's no more comments field. So that value is blanked out. So similarly, you can blank out any value. Of course, you can blank out only optional fields because mandatory fields cannot be blank. So that can be, if you try to blank out mandatory field, it's going to fail and show you error. Now that I'm talking about failed, I just wanted to show you how a failed report looks like. So when a particular record, or when you upload data and if something is failed, it will show you against failed, and there is a report. So you can download that report, and that report looks something like this. So it will have the same columns you had before, and additionally it will add these two columns because I had missed out the PPID while updating the patient. So it is telling me that PPID is required. So this way now I can edit the same file and upload. Even if I keep these columns as it is, the system is going to ignore this. So that is one more tip for you. The data that you import, if you have any additional columns other than the template columns, the system is just going to ignore. So you don't have to worry about additional columns here. So you need to make sure that the fields that are required are there. Even for the values that are not part of dropdown, all those errors will be properly shown like this. Yeah, so that was a bit about update specimen. Now there was, with the update, you also saw another operation, which is update else create. So what this will do is, suppose in my patient creation, let me just open the specimen template. Let's open participant, okay. Yeah, so here suppose I used this update else create. What it will do is, if it will search for the unique IDs, and if that unique ID is already present, it's just going to update that patient. If you try to use create, it's going to throw an error that this patient already exists. Whereas if you use this operation, it will make sure that it will check every record. If that patient is already existing, it will update or create that record. So that is what this means. It update else create. This was specifically asked by one of our clients where they're loading data from an external system, and the data that they receive, they don't know whether it's an update operation or a create operation. So they had to every time, separate out the data manually, which is update versus create. So now they don't have to do that. If there is a unique field that can identify if it's the patient or specimen is already existing, it will update. If it's not existing, it will create. That is one thing I wanted to point out. And other thing about this validate and import. So every time you upload a file, it validates the records. Now, suppose out of 10 records, 1 record fails. Whether you want the other 9 to be uploaded or all 10 should not be uploaded until you fix all the errors. That's a configuration you can change. So in settings, there is the validation limit. If you see here, so here if you see right now, this pre-validation record limit is set to this. Now what this will mean is any number of records I upload below this number, it will validate the file first. So if there is even one record which is failed, then the whole file will not be uploaded. So if there are 100 records and even if one failed, all 100 will be kept as it is. It will not be uploaded. If I keep this value as 0, then if I upload 100, even if one fail, the 99, if they're success, the 99 will be uploaded. So this is something you can choose between these two. If you want to first validate the whole file, and if you don't want certain records to be uploaded, then you can keep this as a higher number. Yeah, so finally, we